So I have to admit that all of this thinking about the first year really kind of made me nostalgic. And so because of all of the things that I have come to realize and believe is that the first year is not just something to survive. You know, it's actually really cool. There's never another first year. You are never going to get to learn alongside your students in quite the same way again. And that's really something to cherish. It's really special. It's a time capsule about how much you will be able to grow. So I actually dug out my first year teaching journal, and my journal, I word processed everything, and so I just kept it in this folder. And I went through and I was reading some of these journal entries, and I just thought that it would be really fun to share them with you. But I have to tell you, in complete transparency, this makes me a little nervous. I have never shared any of these journal entries before, and so sharing them with you right now feels like I'm definitely going to be exposing my first year teacher self. So the first, I'm going to read from portions of 3. The first one is, and you will be able to tell that this comes from like about the first week of school, right? About the first or second week of school when everything is still really magical. And so I started to write about what I wanted teaching to be like. I said, however, for some strange reason, they hold a different meaning. These are some words that I had written before. Even though that sentiment still rings true, I feel that it also means I want my work to be important. I want my life as a teacher to have meant something to another human being. It's the hope that I will be blessed with that magic to inspire others and to become inspirations themselves. I guess I'm feeling a bit sentimental today, very introspective about my life as a teacher. It is so much more than a career, rather. It is a way of living. So what I love about that is that I had kind of this wonderful excitement about this work. But that was in the first couple of weeks. So by the end of the first quarter, these are some of the things that I was writing. Everyone around me seems so talented, and I wonder what I have to bring to this department. In all honesty, I thought that my experiences would be more valuable to those around me than they seem to be. I suppose all of the veteran teachers were once in my shoes, but I feel very much alone, which is ironic considering the size of the school and the 12 other English teachers who make up the department, and I am really tired. I don't want to complain here, and I'm really not trying to, but this is the real trauma of my first year. There's no one to say, Sarah, you've had a good day. All of a sudden, this has become my responsibility. It's a responsibility that I'm not handling well. I remember a saying that went something like, if you're doubting something, then there's probably a reason for it. Well, I suppose that I'm doubting because I'm not as good as I thought I would be, or because I'm not as good as I would like to be. And that was about 9 weeks in. About the end of the semester, this is what I was writing. I am enjoying the students more and more all of the time, but I'm still not feeling at home with the staff. There's really only one person I feel like I can open up to, and only 2 people that I feel like I can trust. I'm really confused with myself as I try to understand this aspect of the classroom. Although there seems to be nothing that I like there, this is in reference to something else, I often find myself in tears at the end of the day because I just don't feel like I'm doing the job that I should be. Student performance seems to indicate that all is going well. Most of the students are working hard, but as I listen to other teachers in the department, I feel so inferior. And then I started to ask myself some questions. How do you feel valued as a teacher by other teachers? How do you feel like your strengths could become contributions to this department? When can you be sure that your strengths, when can you be sure your strengths are? I have quickly become disillusioned. So that is the end of the first semester. And as I read those words, I think about the advice that I would give to my first year teacher self. And this is what I want to say to her. I want to tell my young self to be patient, that the rear view mirror is smaller than the windshield for a reason, that you'll be able to pinpoint then what you were too distracted to see before. I want to tell my young self that most of the time we don't know that we are making a difference until years later. And you too will accumulate stories of success and gratitude. I want to tell my young self that she's spending too much energy covering up her perceived inadequacies because she's comparing herself to others and comparing herself to the adults instead of centering on the students. I want to tell my young self that I'm really proud of her for starting that folder in the bottom of her right-hand desk drawer for any note or card or reminder that a kid or a parent or a teacher gives her for those really gray days. And I really want to tell my young self that you could have slept more, worked less, and laughed louder because you were enough. And I think that so many teachers, all of us, first year, 30 year, we need to remember that we are enough. So as we wrap up tonight's Ask Sarah Live, I want to thank you for tuning in and of course for supporting this work. You will be able to catch transcripts of and portions of the show and video on my blog this Sunday, which you can find at sarahbrownwesling.com. As always, an incredibly special thank you to Teacher for making this possible. And of course, for all of you for tuning in, for your questions, for the conversations that I know you're having and offering to each other. Just this morning, I heard myself asking a small group of students, they were huddled around a novel, and I asked them, so what's the question you really want to ask here? And it seems like, one question begets another. And you can submit yours to us via Twitter, via Facebook, or at the Ask Sarah tab on my website, which you can find at sarahbrownwesling.com. Thank you, everyone. Good night.